Hey all, it's Mooch. Welcome to Minding Your mAhs, and I'm pissed off. There should never have been a reason for me to do this video. I've been working on this behind the scenes for over 3 weeks now, doing about at least 150 hours of work, reading test reports, reviewing safety standards, emailing, all kinds of stuff. Why? Because on April 17th this year, the European Commission, sort of the regulatory arm of the European Union, issued a recall for the Golisi S4 charger. There were 2 serious issues identified in this charger, both of them leading to a possible shock, 120, 240 volt AC mains shock. This is serious. Now, one of the issues had to do with insufficient or inadequate creepage. This is insufficient distance along a surface, not between 2 points in midair where there could be a spark, but electricity flowing along a surface. The other one was due to insufficient or inadequate insulation, and that could be within a transformer inside the device or the wiring itself. Now, I contacted Golisi for a statement saying I was going to post about this. Did they have anything they wanted to say? Because I hadn't heard anything from Golisi yet. They came back saying they would post publicly in a few days. Basically, they were looking into it. They never posted a word about this. They did send a certificate of compliance that said they were in full compliance with the LVD, Low Voltage Directive, and EMC, Electromagnetic Compatibility. These are 2 sets of directives that instruct anyone who wants to sell in the European Union that they have to have some safety testing done to certain standards depending on their country, and also be compatible with other equipment, not to generate interference and not to be zapped by other equipment operating nearby. You need to be compliant with both of these to be able to put a CE mark on your device and sell it within the European Union. So they sent certificates saying, yeah, we're compliant, it's no problem. Well, they also sent over the 2017 Low Voltage Directive test report, and there's a particular safety standard that, and if you go look at the test report, you can see the links are in the description below. For the Low Voltage Directive test report to a certain safety standard, that test report has some things that concern me. And I just want to go down the list very quickly. You can look at the report and see the specifics of this. But I should note that a 2016 report that they had that mentions that it's for the O2 charger looks okay. But I'm not an expert on this, though, and I'm not the end all or the last word to say which report is good or not. But I do have some concerns about the 2017 report, because that's the later one, and that's the one they sent me. The 2017 report refers to as the model type or reference number for the chargers being tested, or the name of the charger for the test report. They list the I2, the I4, the S2, the S4, the O2, the O4, the Needle 1, and Needle 2. Now the problem is the Needle series and the I series of chargers, the I2 and I4, are USB powered chargers, not AC mains powered chargers, namely 120, 240 volt from the wall. The O series and the S series, which is the O2, O4, S2, and S4, S4 being the one that was identified in the recall, those are wall plug chargers. There's just the power cord. They go straight into the device. There's no separate wall wart that you plug into the wall and run a little cord over, and it's not USB powered. I just don't see one test report, and you'll see why, covering those 2 fundamentally different types of chargers. Now, the test report itself says testing is done on the I2 model. It says nothing about the S4 or any of the others. The test report just says all testing done on the I2, and yet this was sent to me as the test report for the S4. The test report also says the power cord is fixed, namely you can't unplug it and plug it, but all Golisi chargers have a removable power cord. The USB, of course, but the wall plug ones, you can unplug and plug the power cord from the device, and that's how you can have different power cords in different countries. So that's very weird. The testing in the test report, the 2017 LVD test report, has all kinds of tests for an AC mains powered charger, but it says it's for the I2 charger, and the I2 charger is USB powered. So what's going on with that? The test report lists a bunch of tests and mentions components that aren't in the i2, which is what the test report says it's for, or the S4 charger, which is what Golisi said this test report was for. So where are these components from? What charger are these components from? What I thought was also very weird is the photos that are in the test reports, like the 2016 test report that I have no problem with, and I think there was a FCC or an EMC test report, Electromagnetic Compatibility test report. The photos by this testing company are done on a blue background with rulers. All the test reports I've seen are done with the rulers, except the 2017 report, the one I have concerns about that Golisi sent me, has some additional photographs on different backgrounds and no rulers. And this is one where you see different charges being put in. It just doesn't seem right with everything. Again, but I'm not an expert. Maybe there's a perfect logical explanation for this, but these are all bunches of little things that make me go, what is actually going on here? And lastly, the O2 charger from the 2016 report and the S4 charger, part of this recall, have almost identical AC mains portions of their circuitry in terms of the layout and the components used. But the 2016 test report for the O2 shows, just a small list of the critical components, or the ones that are safety related. That's what they list in the test reports. The 2017 report, the one I'm concerned about, has a big, huge, long list of components that aren't in the O2 or the S4. So the 2016 report looks good. The 2017 report, as mentioned earlier, has got all these extra components that don't match the O2 or the S4, which share a lot of commonality between the circuitry. So that's just some things that I thought was very weird and raised some eyebrows for me and maybe a little bit wary of what is going on here. Now, is this a genuine test report? Again, I'm not an expert, but I'm wondering what's going on here. I told Golisi, since it said it was for an i2, all the testing was done for the i2, it said it seemed to be an i2 report, and could they send me a test report for the S4? Golisi came back and said, oh, well, we're retesting all the charges now, and we'll have the results in mid-May. What? So the existing test reports aren't valid? Why are you retesting? And what about the freaking recall? There's a recall going on here. But now you're going to be retesting all your charges? Golisi is required to keep valid test reports, EMC and the LVD test and others too, in something called a technical file or technical construction file that they keep themselves for each charger. Lots of other information too, schematics, assembly drawings, all this stuff. Namely, it's a complete file on how this charger is made, built, etc. Now, if the tests are no good, then they can't put the CE mark, because that's what this technical file is required for, to be able to put a CE mark on the charger, and that lets you sell it within the European Union. If the tests are no good, they're retesting everything, then they can't sell these chargers in the EU. So why are all of Golisi's chargers still being sold if they have to retest all their charges? Something's not making sense. A lot of things aren't making sense here. Now, also, if the tests are invalid, if you had to retest, why did you wait to retest until why'd you wait until I asked? Until you said, oh, we're retesting. Why weren't the tests being done before if they weren't valid? If they are valid, why are you retesting at all? It doesn't make sense. Something is not right here. Most important question, why are you not telling everyone to stop selling S4 chargers? There's been a recall for 2 very serious safety defects that could potentially result in someone touching or being connected to 12240 volt AC mains. And I hope I don't have to tell anybody how dangerous that can be. If Golisi wants to claim fakes are what's causing the recall, then prove it. Show us the fakes. Give us the evidence. Tell me where you got them from so I can buy them and see for myself. The recall still exists for the genuine S4s though. The European Commission isn't going to issue a recall for genuine chargers just because they found some fakes or something. Now, in the recall notice, it does say counterfeit, unknown. Now, that can mean they don't know if counterfeits exist or not, or it could mean they don't know if they were testing counterfeits or not. Why don't we know what they're really talking about? Because Golisi's not saying anything. But if Golisi wants to claim those are fakes, then they damn well better prove it. Personally, for me, I would not use the S4 because it's part of the recall, but I also wouldn't use an S2, O2, or O4 charger if I had any of those. Now, why am I saying all four of those chargers? Because manufacturers very often share circuitry, like the O2 and the S4 charger I mentioned before have almost identical AC main sections or circuitry, including the circuit board layout and everything. This means a defect that could exist, or that exists in the S4, according to the European Commission, could also exist in the S2, the O2, and the O4, because they're all mains AC powered, or what Golisi calls wall plug chargers. So if I had one of those, I wouldn't use them. It's up to you what you want to do. You might be saying, Mooch, my S4 has been working great for 2 years, 6 months, whatever. Well, that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. The recall is still there. In fact, there could be a case made that the older the charger is, the more likely it is to fail, because the defects might manifest themselves, might cause these connections between the AC mains and things like the contacts of the charger, the metal contacts of the charger. It might take time to do that. It might take a thin film of e-liquid to form on the circuit board. Now, instead of needing 1,000 volts to jump, maybe it can jump with 150 volts, something like that. And if you have a 240 volt main, yeah, that's a problem. Even 120 volts AC in the United States, that peaks at over 170 volts. It goes up and down. 120 is the average. Peaks are plus or minus about 170 volts. So, and the phone will be ringing here. And with the rest of the phone rings edited out, we can move on. Also, things like as the charger heats up and cools down, little things can flex. You know, the windings in the transformer, the insulating tape between layers in the transformer. Well, if things heat up and cool down, they flex slightly. And that movement and the heat might melt the tape. It might result in a short circuit. We don't know. But it can actually become more likely that there's a problem, a connection to the AC mains that you could touch over time as the charger gets older and older. So us saying, hey, I haven't had a problem in 6 months, doesn't mean this charger is safe. Recalls are issued because there's potential for any one of the chargers to at some time cause a serious safety issue for someone. It's not because every charger will the first day you get it. If there's a tire recall, like Firestone or Bridgestone, was it Firestone many years ago? They didn't recall all those tires because all of them blew up. They had the recall because there was a chance any one of them could eventually blow for any particular person. So you have to get all of them off the market. Now, are you saying, hey, Mooch, I'm outside the EU. This is an EU recall. It doesn't matter. Well, it does. I feel it does. These chargers use what's called a universal power supply. It operates anywhere between like from 110 to 240 volts. Like many companies do, they use a power supply like that to run the charger or whatever device it is, because that lets them build one charger to be used worldwide, and then they have detachable power cords that the end can be configured for the particular country. So if they want to ship 10,000 to the US, they don't have to have a US charger, a European charger, a New Zealand charger, or something like that. They can have one charger, lower costs, increases the profits. It's just good business. And they just, for all the chargers they're shipping to the US, they put in a US power cord. For all the ones going to the UK, a UK power cord. So you might be sitting in the US saying, hey, I'm okay, it's a European Union recall, but there's a chance that power supply in that charger has the same defect worldwide because they use the same charger everywhere in the world. Now, I can't say for sure one way or the other. Why? Because Golisi's not saying anything to us. But I would assume it's the same until you hear something from Golisi, and assume all four of these chargers, any four of them could share the same defect, but certainly all S4 chargers. Now, if you have any questions or concerns, I tried contacting Golisi initially. On Facebook, I was ignored. On Instagram, I was ignored. Finally, info@golisi.com, email, I got hold of someone. We had some conversations. They're very hurt. that there's a recall because they have, you know, their certificates in 2017. That's irrelevant because it's a recall in 2020. How can your certificates mean anything if there's a recall now? Okay, I'm not going to rant anymore about that. Bottom line, Golisi, what is going on? Why are you quiet? Why have you not issued a recall? Why are you not telling your importers? Because the recall notice actually mentions importers to get the units back from the end users. But Golisi can take the lead on that. Golisi can take the lead on telling us what the hell is going on. Is there going to be a refund or exchange? Are other chargers involved? Do people who have the S2, O2, or O4 charger also have to be worried? Tell us. It's been over 3 weeks. Golisi, why have you said nothing to anybody? That's all for today. Thank you for watching.